Hey everyone, and welcome to Business Boutique. I'm Christy Wright, and today we are live at Business Boutique Nashville. Y'all, I'm so excited because we've done this the last few years where we bring our rock star speakers up here for this VIP panel where we're answering questions that you submitted. But first, I want to go ahead and introduce our panel to you. We have here to my left, Stu McLaren. We have Jennifer Allwood, Megan Tamty, Emily Lay, and Annie F. Downs. Y'all give them a round of applause. All right, so our first question is super general, so I feel like everyone can speak to this, everyone can jump in. We'll just popcorn this. This is from Angela Cox from Indianapolis. Angela, are you here? Oh, yes, there she is. All right, Angela, we got you. For sure she is. Here we go. Angela asks, what is the best strategy for social media marketing? Jennifer, I know you're just going to roll with this, so I'm going to start with you, and then everybody else hop in.
Am I on? Oh, I'm on. This is amazing. Hi, guys. Okay, social media marketing. Absolutely. I love social media back there. Being yourself, being real, being really transparent. And I'm speaking today on live video. You know, Christy, I love live video. So that's the best way to get engagement on your social media and also the best way to build the relationship, which is going to cause people to buy from you eventually. Once they know, like, and trust you, then the sale is so much easier after that. So that's going to require that you're yourself on social media. That's my final answer right there.
That's great. Everybody else hop in there. Social media, what are your strategies? What are your tricks?
Right now, Insta stories. I mean, we are dropping, I'm telling my team, drop anything you're doing and everything in marketing and just give me more Insta stories and give me more Facebook Live events because the live conversation, the live selling for us is like, and this is changing so fast. Like it's changed in the last 6 months. So Insta stories.
Am I on? I'm on. Know who you're talking to and know who you're not talking to. On my team, we like to define this person, who she is, what she wears, what she eats, where she shops, and then also who it is we're not talking to. You don't have to talk to the entire universe on the interwebs. You can have a specific core client and know who that is, and then tailor and strategize what you're doing towards her.
I love it. Stu, you got anything?
My big thing would be to get clear yourself on what you want to represent. So what values and philosophies and beliefs and what things do you stand for that you want to communicate in your social media? Because a lot of things that we don't realize are communicating messages in our social media, whether we realize it or not. And so it's really important to be intentional about being clear about what messages you want to communicate in your social media.
I love that, and I love that you guys are saying so many of the same things we've been talking about, which they don't know this because we didn't prepare beforehand to say, hey, here are all the things we're going to teach, so we say the same thing. But Megan Tamty ended her interview with asking for help. Stu is talking about know exactly what you're going to say and have a goal in mind whenever you're actually putting this post on social media. Emily's talking about persona. We were just talking about this. So you can see these are best business practices that all of these successful leaders use. So it's a great thing that you can implement in your business. Okay, I love this question. This is from Kelly Blankenship from Knoxville, Tennessee. Kelly, are you here? Yeah, Kelly, awesome. So this is a great question, and I get this question all the time. So whoever wants to take this and then run with it. How do I get social followers to convert into sales? I get likes, I get shares, people talking, but no appointments come from it. I boost promotions, contests, giveaways. How do I get people online to convert?
I'll run with this first. Biggest thing that I would say is that you have to, two things. One, you have to create anticipation for a sale. So a lot of the times when we have something for sale, we're just like, ta-da, it's here. Somebody, anybody? And what you got to do is you got to create anticipation. So one of the things that I believe is that the longer the runway, the bigger the result. And what I mean by that is the longer lead time you give to whatever sale or promotion that you're doing, and you create anticipation for that sale or promotion, the bigger result you will have. So the way that I recommend leveraging social media is you use it as a tool to create awareness of an upcoming promotion way in advance, and you drop little teasers. So for example, like in our company, our biggest promotion is happening April 25th, 2019. How do I know that date already? And why am I sharing it with you already? Because I'm already creating anticipation. That's the whole point. And so you want dates circled on people's calendars, so use social media to create awareness of future dates.
I love this. This is something that we have been doing more because Stu has taught us to. So even I love pulling the curtain back on Business Boutique and showing you guys why we do what we do and how we do what we do. And so we treated the planner differently because of our work with Stu. We treated the Academy launch in September because of our work with Stu. So when you feel like, I know as a business owner, you feel like, I'm so excited, I'm going to tell everybody all the things instantly. But if you can do what he's teaching of teasing things, you won't even believe what's coming. You guys won't even believe. Next week, I mean, it's going to be crazy. Just teasers. You build that excitement, you build that anticipation, and then the payoff is so much more. When we launched the planner and pre-sale, we sold hundreds on that first day because I'd been talking about it. Oh, it's not available yet. Sorry, it's not available yet, which is true. It wasn't. But I could have waited till it was available to talk about it, but I didn't. I talked about it when I had a mock-up. I talked about when it was a digital version online, like, hey, look at what's coming. You create that excitement and anticipation, and then by the time you're actually ready for them to buy, they're emotionally ready to buy as well because they've heard about it. It's not the first time, so I love that piece of advice. What about the rest of you guys? Jennifer, I know you deal with this a lot too.
I'm biting here to talk to you.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, thanks. So, building your audience, doing giveaways and things is not really best practice because it brings in a type of person that's the type of people that when they're at a home show, they're putting their names in those little fish bowls to try to win something. You know what I'm talking about? And that's fine, but that's not who you want to be buying your stuff. And so be really careful with the giveaways. A lot of those are against Facebook's terms of service anyway. And as someone, that I love my Facebook page. I don't want to shut down. So be careful of that. But what I was going to say is there was a girl I met here yesterday, Christy, and she went live on Facebook. She made 400 bows. She's in my coaching group. And she sold all 400 of those on a Facebook Live. And the moral of the story is Facebook Live will be a 6 to 7 times the amount of reach as a normal post. So she could have just posted one of her cute little bows and hoped to sell some. Instead, she went live 6 to 7 times the people saw it, and she sold out. So there you go. Live video to sell things is magical.
I love it. Emily, Megan,
I got to jump in. You could have 200,000 followers or you could have 200 followers. All that matters is that they are the right people and that you are loving them well. So back when we had 200, we have 200,000 now, but back when we had 200 followers, we loved them well, we served them well, we walked through every step of that client experience from engaging with us on social media to visiting the website to making that decision to receiving the product, but thinking through the entire process, not just engaging with them online, but that whole process is not only how you begin to attract people to you, but the way that you carry them through and get them to come back too.
Annie, I know you talk about this whenever, we've talked about this on a previous podcast, and I love what you say about this, where someone might say, oh, well, I only have 200 followers. What do I do? I've only got 200. Somebody else has so many more. And you have a great example. You're like, when are you ever...
Yeah, when can you ever disciple 200 people?
I mean, right.
Like, how could you see 200 people in a week anyway? So if you get to talk to 200 people 5 times a day, that would never happen in your real life, right? And what Jen said is so important. I'm like going to hang on to it, where she said, your followers know you, love you, and trust you. Because I'm thinking about, I think you said something about making appointments. I think at some point, if you have done the heart work of them knowing you, loving you, and trusting you, at some point you go, hey, I'm trying to do something here. Would you like an appointment? Like, do you have a friend that you think, would you mind telling them? I mean, at some point it's appropriate to ask, especially while you're building, to say like, hey, I have 3 appointments next week. If anybody wants one, here's how much it costs, right? And just kind of being that, I mean, if the right strategy is being true to who you are and being vulnerable, that may be a real simple answer, but at some point you just go, hey, does anybody want one of these appointments? I've got 3, you know?
Yeah. All right, I love this next question because this really tacks on to kind of what we're saying about conversions online, but it could really be in any scenario. This question is from Mary Helen Dennis from Westminster, Maryland. Mary Helen, where are you? All right, there she is. Awesome. She said, how do I get people excited enough about my product to buy? I would imagine, Stu, the anticipation, the tease is part of that, but you're really good about this. Like, you get really excited and you get people really excited. Let's start with you, and then we can go down the line, whoever wants to hop in.
I get really excited because I get really connected to what it is that I'm selling and the difference it's going to make in people's lives. So one of the things that has become an absolute staple in our company is that we have a thing called the circle of awesomeness. Okay, so it happens like once a sale is made, the focus of the company, the entire focus, is to help people get a result, to help people make some kind of progress. It could be a huge win, but it can also be the little wins in between. And so a whole focus is on the result, because once people get a result, guess what we have? We have a story. We have a great story to tell. And once we have the story and we share the story, it generates more excitement and interest. And so one of the things that for me, like when it comes to quote selling, is I never feel like I'm really selling. I'm just telling stories, and I'm just showing stories again and again and again. And that's what gets me excited, because this whole circle of awesomeness, as we're looking at it and hearing about it in terms of it helping us generate sales, here's the other side effect, is that the more stories you share, the more confident you get in what it is you're providing and the difference you're making. And that will help you generate more sales than anything else. When you know like what you're offering and what you're selling is making a difference, whether it's brightening somebody's day, whether it's helping them with their fitness, whether it's making their home more beautiful, it doesn't matter what the difference is, but you're clear on the difference that it's making. Then you show up in a different way, and then you feel better, and that's when you, at that point, making sales is almost effortless because you're just sharing stories.
I want to highlight one thing you said, Stu, and you're so good at this. You really are so focused on getting results for your customers, and that gives you a story to tell, but nothing is more powerful than a testimonial of referral, of word of mouth. And people that have had their life changed by Business Boutique, by your business, by their business, by the Business Boutique Academy, that's more powerful than anything I can say. So when you become obsessively focused on serving your current purchasers, your loyal customers, they will begin to spread the word for you of, oh my gosh, you got to go see my hair girl because she does amazing highlights. Oh, you got to go have this person teach your kids piano because they do an amazing job. So be focused. I love how he said that. Be focused on getting results for your current customers. And then not only do you have a story to tell, but they have a story to tell. And so if you hear from a Business Boutique Academy member of their life being changed, it's way more powerful than if I tell you. How can you apply that to your business to get their results so they're talking for you?
And it becomes so much more fun.
Yeah.
Like I really love having fun with our customers, like surprises. There's a book that I want you to write down and make sure you go buy. It's called The Power of Moments. It's by, the authors are Chip and Dan Heath. And this book, for me, just kind of opened up my eyes to the opportunity that all of us have with the products and services that we provide in creating significant little moments. And in the book, I'll just share one example. He talked about a hotel in California that is constantly booked. Of all the hotels that you could go to, this is not the fanciest, doesn't have the best bed, doesn't have the best views, doesn't have any of that stuff. But there's one thing that they do. When you're sitting by the pool, there's like a red phone. You pick up the red phone, and on the other line, somebody says, what color? You say purple or red or orange or whatever color you want. You hang up the phone. Literally 2 minutes later, somebody comes out, a waiter comes out with a silver platter. They pull off the lid of the platter, and it's a popsicle in whatever color you just asked for.
That's amazing.
Now look at that. So when you go and you look at the reviews, people are like, that's all they're talking about. They're raving about this one little thing that probably cost them 30 cents. But that's the power of a great moment. And so we can weave these into our into our products and services, and that's when it becomes fun. That's when it's like, it's a joyful time to be able to sell.
Stu literally just did what he's teaching and sold 200 copies of that book, right? I mean, he literally just said, here's why this mattered to me. It's going to matter to you too.
Yeah.
And that's
Referral.
how you get people excited. I'm going to go buy that book.
Yeah. Great example. Anybody else on getting people excited? Jennifer,
Yeah,
Emily, Megan, all y'all are
absolutely.
very excited people. So let me have it. What you got?
Well, here's what I think, Christy. I coach a lot of women every month, and there's sometimes a common theme, especially for women that sell a service instead of a product, is sometimes we like, gosh, we kind of like buckle down just a little bit. And what are people going to think of me when I'm doing all these sales posts on social media? What's my family going to think? I don't know. And I feel like our clients can smell that a mile away if we don't know. And so I think at the end of the day, you have to convince yourself that what you're selling is good. It brings value to people. It is worth the money you are charging for it. And that's all mental work. That's not product work. That's mental work that you have to do. And once you really believe that what you offer can solve a problem in the world or bring value to someone's life, your clients can smell that as well. And it's a great fragrance to them. And so I think sometimes too, especially on social media, if we post something for sale and we kind of hear crickets, then we instantly are like, well, I'm not doing that again because that was painful. Does anybody can relate to that? Nobody's saying anything. But usually on Facebook especially, we're asking them to go outside of the Facebook platform, look at our product on our website, and then we can't really expect them to come back and comment. So just be glad they're even going. But I just think that really believing that what you have to offer can make a difference is just critical.
If you don't believe it, they won't. So I
Amen.
love that. All right.
And I feel like providing them what they want, not necessarily what you want. As a founder of a company, I think this is really hard for founders who, I created this business out of a need. But when I opened up that store the very first day, there was product in that stores that I loved, but our customers did not. They told me they didn't like it because it didn't sell, and I had to get out on the step. It hurts, and you have to get out there and say, why are you walking away from the store today without anything? Why? What can we do to be better? And just getting feedback and making quick adjustments. And I remember finding things that maybe I didn't like, and it was a bestseller. Okay, I got to get more of these because I don't like them, but clearly our customer does. So I think understanding and being vulnerable enough to get feedback on your product and being willing to talk to your customers and engage with them and ask questions is really important. And at this phase of the business, just this summer, I traveled to 3 territories and did 3 days of customer focus groups with customers. And I was behind a glass window, and it was vulnerable. Like there were people in the room saying, "What do you love about this brand?" It was. I heard things that I was like, I thought they loved this, and they hate it. And there were things that I've been preaching in our company. This is what our customer loves, and they were like, in every state behind doors saying, I hate this thing, and it was very vulnerable for me. But you know what? When you're in business, you've got to adjust, you've got to change, you got to do it quickly, so you can survive.
That's good. Emily, anything you want to add about getting people excited about your products?
Just to go along with what both of you down there said, I had a friend tell me one time, if you're not excited about it, nobody's going to be. And there was a point in my career, a very big turning point, where I was in a conference like this, and I was making wedding invitations, and I had samples in my bag and my business cards, and I was ready. And she said that, and I was like, oh, I'm not excited to do this anymore. And it was that moment where I thought, maybe I go back to that job I just left, and maybe I'm not excited. Something's not connecting for me. And her saying that was a very pivotal moment. And I sat down with myself and said, what is it that you're passionate about? What is that thing that you're struggling with right now? What is it that you would be excited to shout from the mountaintops? And I thought, my struggle right now is that I have this kid that I love and this career as a graphic designer that I love, and I can't do both. And I need a product to help me manage my time better. And so the Simplified Planner was born out of that. And now I could talk about it for 10 years,
I love it. So this next question really applies to all of you because all of you have experienced this in some way. This question is from Alex in Bowling Green. Is Alex here? Hey, Alex, I love this question. She said, my business is growing much faster than I had imagined. What are some of the common challenges I need to watch for while growing at a rapid rate? Or maybe what are some common mistakes people make in the growth process that you would help us avoid?
I'll go. Yep. Going into debt. It's very easy. Our company grew extremely fast, and we sold out of product very quickly. And I thought it was going to be this cool thing where everyone was like, demand is there. This is awesome for the next time. That anticipation was very vital and is very vital to us. But we also had people that were mad. You gave us this anticipation, and we really want it, and now you don't have it. And there was a decision point where my husband, who moonlights as our CFO, and I said, is this the point where we go take out a big business loan? Because that's what everyone told us to do. Go take out a big business loan. It's what you do. And we said, no, when we started the company as a little fledgling thing, we said, we're not going to go into debt for this. We're not going to put our family at risk. And we didn't. And we grew slow. And that is so hard to do because you deal with a little bit of backlash and you deal with am I doing this the right way? Cash flow is so hard if you have a physical product. But we went through those hard times, and now we're 10 years in, still debt-free, didn't bite the bullet. Don't do that. Okay, I'm done.
Anybody else? Yeah.
I would say when you're growing fast and you're experiencing success, I think it's always tempting to lose your focus. We're really good at this. Maybe we should open a men's store, and maybe we should open a baby store, and maybe no. There are so many temptations to do that, and for us, we as tempted as we were, I'm so grateful that we stayed focused on making the business that we had even better than trying to go start other businesses. So that was number one. And then number two, I definitely think, where I've compromised the brand was growing and not having the right team in place to sustain the growth, the quality of the product, of the service. And so getting that right team to sustain the growth is so important. So we've had to actually at times back down from growth and say, okay, we were supposed to open this many stores this year, but we're not because we don't have the right team in place. And then once we have the right team, kind of move forward.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is don't hire stupid just because you're overwhelmed. If you hire, it is way worse to have a bad employee when you're busy than to have no employee when you're busy. So you do not want to hire stupid just because you're scared. So just go slow. And I mean, really slow the business
Slow it
down.
down. Yeah.
Slow the business down before you hire somebody that you have to fire in 6 months.
The cost is insane of a bad hire. The cost and then the cost and the headache is just absolutely not worth it. So I love that. You know, one of the leading causes of small businesses failure is growing too fast. They try to say yes when they can't handle yes. For any of you guys that were at one of our first business boutique events, Stephanie Parker of Zippity Zip and then Melissa Hennett of Grace and Lace are two great examples. Both of them in different ways said no to Shark Tank, said no to an opportunity, said no to a lot of money because they knew it would make the business crumble. And so you have to know when to slow down. And I love that advice.
Shark Tank lives up to its name. More companies crumble because of Shark Tank than succeed.
We turned it down too. Same thing. Like we got all the way through, and we were like, we couldn't handle what would happen.
Yeah. So it's great advice. Even though it feels counterintuitive, you're growing at the pace that you can handle so that you can sustain it for the long haul. I love that question. This is a great question that is a fun one, and it's something I think we all struggle with. This is around this love-hate relationship with money, pricing, charging, all that. This is from Priscilla in California. Is Priscilla here? Hey, Priscilla, right there, front row. I love it.
I like your boots, Priscilla.
She's got a dental practice, and she said, I'd like advice on how to not feel guilty for charging patients a lot of money for my services, and even more importantly, helping my staff feel more comfortable about talking about money with patients. So just some advice in general around this awkwardness around money. Not everyone all at once.
Great.
Go on.
You say what you say about this. You have such a good answer.
Do I?
Yeah.
It's what we talked about earlier with when you focus on the problem that you solve, it removes a lot of that guilt because we only feel guilt if we're taking. We only feel guilt if we're focusing on, I'm somehow taking advantage of someone, I'm reaching in their wallet and taking their money. Don't focus on what you get. Focus on what you give, the value that you offer, the problems that you solve, and so on. And so when you shift your focus, it helps you understand that. We also, and I don't know if Dave talked about this, I didn't think I heard him say this, but when he was on stage, we have a lot of weird feelings about money. Those are feelings. That's what they are. Money is amoral, and a sale is an exchange of value. That's all it is. When I go to Starbucks, I hand them $5, and they hand me a cup of coffee. And it's because I want the coffee more than I want my $5, and they want my $5 more than they want their coffee, and we both leave really happy about it. And so when you take all your weird feelings around this out of it, and you realize that sales is an exchange of value, then it can help you get over that feeling of feeling guilty and realize that I'm serving the marketplace, I'm solving problems, and that has a value in it. And by the way, I think where some of this guilt comes from, and I hear women talk about this when we're talking about profit margin, as if profit is bonus money, fun money, just icing on the cake. It's not. Like, that profit has a job to do. It's a necessary element in the financial equation of your business. It is required for you to stay in business, make an impact, help more people. So earning a profit is not selfish. It's really, really smart, and it's what smart, successful people do. So I think it's that deep work that Jennifer was talking about around our beliefs around money that's way more in our head than it is in reality that we have to work on that affects our reality.
I got
go
two
on.
things to share. So for me personally, a big shift happened several years ago. My wife and I run a nonprofit as well as our business. And the very first time we were in Kenya, we were looking to build our first school. And at the time, I had a software company, and the software that we were selling was $100 a license. And so we were in this community, and I'm talking to the chairman of this community. I'm trying to find out like how much it costs to build a school. And I'm asking him about the cost for this, cost for that. And I said to him, what does it cost to fund the full-time salary of a teacher? And he said to me, it's about $100 a month. And at that time, like, it clicked. I'm like, well, wait a minute. If I sell one more license of our software, like, I could fund the full-time salary of this teacher. And then the real light bulb went on, which was like, Stewie, what if you sell a whole lot more? Like, you could have a whole lot more impact. And that's when it really connected for me, which was the more money I make, the more impact I can have. And so as somebody who is also running a nonprofit, I used to feel really guilty about making money. Now, I love making money because money gives you the ability to be able to do things that you could not do with your time. As a nonprofit, the most valuable thing that a nonprofit can get is money because it provides leverage. So that got me personally over the hump. As far as the business, here's the thing that I want you to think about. We have to look at the ripple effect of what it is that we provide and the impact it has, not just on the customer, but beyond the customer. And so for you, you're in the dental practice, right? Like, that's a huge deal because it's not just somebody's teeth, but what that represents for somebody. My daughter just lost her front teeth. She does not look the same, And so, there's a whole identity that's wrapped up in that work and what that does for somebody's confidence and how they show up in the world in a different way. Yeah. Get connected to that. And then the ripple effect that has on them and their family and so forth. That's when you really understand the value of what you're providing is not just dental practice. It is so much more than that.
Can I tag team on that for just a second? As someone who has bad teeth and who has to go to the dentist all the time, girl, I'm telling you, I'll pay any amount of money for that experience to be good, for me to leave there not traumatized. And I mean that. And I've got a whole lot of kids, and I'll pay the same amount of money for them. And so I was coaching this woman the other day who's a veterinarian, and she's amazing. But she doesn't want to be a veterinarian to just any animal. She wants, kind of the fancy dogs and cats, if you will. And I'm like, well, then, market yourself in that way and don't feel guilty about it at all. It's like what Christy talked about earlier with Walmart and Target. So just go ahead and go there and don't feel guilty at all because I'm telling you, there are so many people that, you see dental patients all the time. Make that experience good for them and it is worth every single cent that you're charging.
I asked you guys earlier, I asked the whole room, how many of you really, really love working with cheap people? And ironically, no hands went up. So stop charging like that because that's who you're attracting. So believe it or not, there's a group of people that, like Jennifer with the teeth, we want to pay more. So charge for them because they won't come to you if you're pricing too low. A silly example, I used this earlier, but I like to get massages. If I see an ad for a $20 massage, no thanks. Right? I want to pay at least $80 for my massage. So if you're less, you're not getting me as a customer. So your price needs to reflect your value and the market that you're going after. So I love that. Just commit and go for it. Yeah,
and,
go ahead.
At Evereve, we talk a lot about purpose and profit because we run what we call a purpose-based company. So we have a mission and values that really we've leveraged to drive our success. But we can't do what we do if we don't have a profit. So to us, there's a lot of work. We can be purposeful and profitable. And we really can't be purposeful without that profit. So helping everybody that works for you understand that, I think, is really important.
Yeah, Ken Blanchard says, profit is the applause that the marketplace gives you. And so it is your report card of the fact that you're winning. It's not a bad sign. It's actually a very good sign. So that's a great example. I love this question from Katie. Katie is in Mason City, Illinois. Is Katie here? Oh, Katie, front and center. I love it, Katie. Katie said, I struggle with communicating my value and relaying that during a meeting with a prospective client. Here's the keywords. How can I be more confident during a sale? So let's talk about that because that's so important. You were talking about this before. Confidence is key to everything we're doing.
It's the stories. I'll come back to it again. I know it sounds silly, like the circle of awesomeness, but it really is a thing that we wholeheartedly believe in. And when you commit to that, then what happens is you gain confidence because of the stories of transformation that you're creating. And that's when you show up in a different way. And I'll tell you that the more stories we started to see come from our customer base, the more confident I became, which was like, this stuff is actually working. Oh my gosh, like this is great. And then so like if somebody in my world, like if somebody has a business and they want to generate more recurring revenue, I know with 100% certainty that I can help them do that because of the track record, And so I would just say, just get connected to your stories of your people and your customers, and it'll transform the way that you think about what it is that you're doing.
When we started this conference, I told you guys that Business Boutique started as an idea, and it was theory, and I was scared. Before I ever walked on stage, I was like, I don't know if this is going to work. 4 years later, I mean, we talk about it so excited, so confident because we have the stories. It's proof. So some of you guys have come through my book signing line, and I remember I'll have people come through sometimes, and they'll say, like, I'm really excited about this book. Do you think it's going to help me? I don't say, oh, gosh, I don't know. 50-50, it's a toss-up. No, I'm like, are you kidding me? Of course it's going to help you. This is the plan you need to win, and I can't wait to watch you win. And when you do, I want you to go ahead and send me your success story. Here's my email. Send it to this address because I want to share your story on the podcast. I can't wait to watch you win. That confidence is not something I muster up or make up. It's real because we have the stories. So get the stories, and your confidence will go through the roof. I love that example.
I teach this at Every to my employees. I think a great way to start telling a story is to say what you just said. I'm so excited. Because sometimes people are, I mean, I look around we have 1,500 women that work in my company, and they don't want to talk about themselves. Women are very, don't want to talk about themselves. But I'm like, well, here's what you can say that I think everybody might make you feel better. Like, what are you excited about? What are you learning? But I heard you say, I'm excited about this. I think that's a great way to go in selling your product is by telling people what you're excited about. Like, I'm excited. Like, say those words about da, da, da. That's a good way to start your story.
So I'm just going to come from a slightly different angle. So I noticed a few years ago in my business, like I'd get to a certain level of sales and then it kind of stopped right there. And I'm like, what's happening here? Why am I capping out at this amount? Like, what's going on? And I remember I had a webinar once. I come from a background of teaching people how to paint. And so I remember praying like, I really hope I get 200 people in this course. And I got 200. And then I remember seeing the sales go up to 300. And I'm like, oh man. And then I remember seeing the sales go to 400. And then I bawled like a baby. Because for some reason I felt like worthy of 399, but I didn't feel worthy of 400 people. Like something clicked in my head. And I was like, what the heck? Who do I think I am? What am I doing here? And so just being completely transparent, I've had several times in my business where I've kind of gotten to that thing where I'm like stuck up against something, and I've had to go to therapy. I'm just putting that out there because I'm like, what is happening in my head that I am sabotaging myself? And so I just would encourage you that if you ever get to a point where you're just up against that same roadblock all the time, go talk to somebody that can look at your business from an outsider's point of view and maybe just help you figure out where that's rooted, where that's coming from. Why when you get to a certain point do you sabotage yourself? Because that's what I personally was doing. That was a game changer for me. I'm all about the therapist. The therapist and not the dentist. Yeah. The therapist and not the dentist. That's where I'm at. I love you, though. You're cute as a button. I'd go to you if you're in Kansas City, but...
I think you also have to go scared a little bit. Mm-hmm. There are things in my life that I don't like to do, and the more times I do them, the more confident I become. Yes. I hate flying. I'm here, though. Yes. I hate flying, but I have to fly so much for my job, and I swear the more I do it, the more comfortable I become, the more pep talks I give myself when the plane takes off and I turn my headphones on. It's fine. You just get, you become more confident. Another thing I think is that we have to be confident enough to ask our clients, our past customers, for those testimonials. Yeah. Sometimes they live in their heads and we never hear them. Mm-hmm. I was getting ready to release my second book last year, and for my business, I reached out on Instagram stories, here we are again, and said, I would love to hear your testimonials about the Simplified Planner. If you have a minute and don't mind, we're building a testimonial page. And it was like maybe a week before the book release. And I had thousands of people write me. I didn't look at my phone for the rest of the day. I sat in my bed that night and just sobbed, reading, because I hadn't heard these stories. People were, we'd see a social post every now and again, but to hear those heartfelt stories I had so much confidence going into that book release that it was just unmatched. And I would have never known had I not just asked for it,
I have one quick thought for you, Katie, and I'm not trying to be the Holy Spirit on you here, but my real question is, what do you think about you? Because you should walk into a meeting confident because you are literally the only you we have, and we need what you make. And so no one else can reflect God to us the way you do, and no one else's product reflects God to us the way your stuff does. And so every meeting you walk into, that is absolutely true. Whether people buy it or not, that doesn't change the fact that what you make shows us who God is. And so we need you to walk into those meetings confident because we need you to believe that is true about you. And so that's how you walk in the meetings confident. I'm not confident of a lot of things, but I'm confident that I'm the only Annie. And so I got to walk in everywhere. I was like, well, yeah, I'm the only Annie, and I'm the only one who looks like God like this. And if people fall in love with the people of God, they will fall in love with God.
All right, y'all, before we wrap up, I would love to ask one more question. This is the $1 million question that everyone wants to know all the time, everywhere we go. I know you've been asked it, but let's answer it again because I know it's one of those things we always struggle with. Let's talk about time management. Let's talk about how you juggle all the things and what it looks like. And you can give us a high level, how you approach it, or even a really tactical, like I use this app and it helps me. Everybody jump in wherever. How do you manage all the things you have going on in your life and your business?
You starting?
Yes, go on.
Okay, well, I have my wife. Point blank. I mean, okay, here's the reality. So my wife just came back from an epic, she has a Facebook group called Lady Strength. And every year she does a trip. It's an adventure trip. So she just got back from driving across Morocco on a motorbike. Yeah, she's...
How cool is that? That's the coolest.
Yeah.
Can I be friends with her?
Yeah, she's awesome. And but at home when she was gone was chaotic. So in true honesty, like my wife is absolutely the person that helps hold me accountable. You know, for me, I have a few hard-bound rules. My day ends at 4:30. I'm always home with Amy and the kids. I've got 2 young ones, a 7-year-old daughter who has no front teeth, and then I've got an adopted son, Sam, from South Africa, who's 4 years old. And so for me, like this time is the most precious of their years. So I have a hard rule, and I have a hard rule about weekends. Outside of that, though, like I found when Amy was gone, my schedule was whacked, and I was like working until like late in the night, and then Sam's like up in the middle of the night, and so if I were left to my own devices, I would be an absolute mess. So in all true honesty, Amy, and then Summer, who's at the back, the women in my life control my schedule and my time, and I depend on them. So at the end of the day, like that's my greatest time management is I have other people who hold me accountable.
That's awesome. So I know for me that first things first, when my life gets out of order in terms of my faith, then my time management just goes down the drain. So I have to start every day, I try to start every day with some quiet time with the Lord, with some Bible time. Everything just runs so much smoother. And yet that's the hardest part of the day to like, try to, distractions happen all the time because I'm making a grocery list in my head and I'm thinking of the kids' schedule and all the things. And so that quiet time in the morning helps me with time management the rest of the day. We have a pretty busy life with 2 teenagers. We have a 10-year-old daughter, and we just brought a 4-year-old into our home. So my life right now is a little crazy in terms of time, but every time that I feel really overwhelmed, I usually find that there's parts of my business that I need to either be outsourcing or hiring people for or getting help on. And a lot of times it's my pride making me want to keep that. I've blogged for like 12 years. And so like little pieces of that, the other day I was like, why am I still blogging after 12 years? I mean, I can have somebody else help me with this sort of thing, but it's kind of a pride thing to keep that close. So when I feel myself getting really out of alignment, first of all, my family will tell me. And if you ask your family, they'll tell you if you're out of alignment. And so then I know I have to make necessary adjustments, get my life back in order with quiet time in the mornings, and cut some things out and hand some things off. And so that just makes everything go so much better.
So for me, time management just got a whole lot easier. I sent my youngest son off to college this fall, so I have a lot of time. No, no, I'm teasing. So for me, it's been prioritization. I mean, when we started this business 14 years ago, my husband and I, we said we are going to have 3 priorities: our faith, our family, and this business. And there wasn't a lot of room for anything in between. Mm-hmm. And I had such tight boundaries and said no, 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 no to a million things. The clean house, the nice house, friends. I had no friends for the first, I'm just now making friends. But the best piece is that, you can reset your priorities. You can, now we've reset our priorities now that our kids are gone. So I think just getting those priorities figured out and then having the confidence to say no and to sacrifice so much to help. But you need that so you can meet your priorities. So
you took my answer. No, I was actually going to say something very similar, that early on when I started in business, I said, I'm going to do this. I was working for the University of South Florida's Women in Leadership and Philanthropy program. That was my job before all of this. And I started this tiny Etsy shop so that I could leave and be a flexible mom, a mom of flexibility. And my husband and I said from day one, that is our priority here with this business is for you to have flexibility to go to the Halloween party or whatever at school. And even now that we have a team of 8 and we are in Target and we're doing all these things, like it always has to come back to that one thing, that one priority of be the flexible mom. And I have a team who is amazing and supportive of that, but I also expect them to make the same choices in their lives. So when our plates begin to be overfull, if my plate is overwhelming, they'll take things off so I can go to the Halloween party. I was at like 3 on Wednesday, so it's in my head. But same for them. If one of them, we have a woman on our team with a newborn, we take things off her plate so that she can do that kind of thing. So I know that sort of team setup is a little bit amazing. But I think coming back to that priority and knowing why you got into business in the first place is so important, no matter how large it is.
I have 2 quick answers. One is something Christy taught me that has literally changed my business in the last 3 months. Because Christy said, I have so many different things that I do and different buckets of my job. And she said, on Mondays, work on this. On Tuesdays, work on this. On Wednesday, work on this. And I haven't even got to tell you, it has revolutionized my week. Yeah. And so that has been time management for me. It's like I have a little notebook that I keep. Oh, if I need to work on a Tuesday thing, I write it down on Tuesday. Even if it's Monday, don't forget tomorrow, but don't work on it, right? And so I stay in my lane. And then the other thing I'll tell you that has changed my life time management-wise is taking a Sabbath. And I know that sounds opposite of what is actually true, that if you're running out of time, you should work more. The actual truth is you can do more in 6 days rested than you can do in 7 days tired. And so you need to take a day off. And actually, I'm interviewing new employees now, and one of the things we say in every interview is, you have to take a day off or you cannot work for me, because I am not willing to burn somebody else out or burn myself out. And so you have to find a day where, and I know I'm not a mom, and so I know that it's different when you have little people at you all the time, but you can at least find a chunk, a 2 or 3 hour chunk until you build it up to a day. But taking a day and not working on your company and trusting that it will not die if you take your hands off of it, and letting it do for a day will make you a better boss and a better business owner the 6 days you are working. I have seen in my life.
Annie is so, y'all are getting a taste of it now, but Annie is so smart. Like she's got drop the mic moments. Like we're all really good friends and we all learn from each other. And so I want
we go to Vegas together.
And we do go to Vegas together. I want you guys to see that we're not just teaching you to champion each other, but we're championing each other. And it's a model that I want you guys to internalize. When Annie was talking about time management, specifically the day thing, just to clarify, those are batching. Like what we're saying is we want you to batch like things together. So I have writing things, I have video things, and so on. And if you batch them, it's so much more efficient from a time management standpoint, because that means I get camera ready on one day and I do all my video in that day. Then you're not putting on all the makeup all the days. And then I write and I look crazy with a messy bun. I go to a coffee shop in a sweatshirt and I write. What happens is we try to do all the things all the time, and the mental energy required to switch gears and change tasks is exhausting. So if you can put the tasks that you do in your business into like things categories, into these buckets, and batch those like things together. This is something I've learned from Emily Lay as well. Emily Lay teaches this with simplicity. So if you can batch, what it does is it reduces your switching gears, it reduces your exhaustion, and you actually are more productive in that task. So that's a really tactical thing. I will tell you guys, when I did research on women with businesses at all stages, the number one challenge, struggle, hurdle, however you want to say it, was time management. So we actually end the whole conference by talking about that. So we will close out tomorrow and we'll do a full session on talking about that and how we approach our calendar. So before we go, y'all, isn't this panel awesome? Will you please give them a hand? Thank you guys. Thank y'all so much for being here. All right, that's it for this week. Thanks so much for hanging out with me as always. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast for more encouragement on how to make money doing what you love. Visit businessboutique.com. Thanks, guys. Thanks for being here, y'all.